Hello, welcome to Ephemera Files by Tommy, and today I want to make some Boho Bookpage beads. And to do this, I am going to need, obviously, scissors. We'll go through the tools, and probably a ruler and glue. And I think that that's it for the tools. For the supplies, we're going to need seed beads. We're going to need some scrap fabrics, and we're going to need some book pages. And then this is the specialty thing, I guess you would call it a specialty thing. These are all wires that I have taken from wired ribbon when using the wired ribbon for another project. And I obviously keep them. The way I keep them, I wind it around my fingers until it's gone, and then I twist it into a figure 8, and it keeps it really, really neat. And so I'm going to pull one out because I don't think I need all of them. Let's see. Oh, and one more thing we're going to need. Well, may or may not need. How about that? I prefer to use them just because it gives me a more solid base. You do not have to use them. These are, they look like straws. It's plastic tubes that come on the end of paintbrushes. When you buy a paintbrush, a lot of times it'll come with that plastic protective tube on the end of it. And I don't like to throw these away because obviously I don't like to throw anything away. But they can be used. And what else will work is a coffee stir stick, as long as it's hollow. Some of them have it's like two tubes that are stuck together. Those will also work. It doesn't have to be a single tube, but you don't have to use one at all. If you are fairly certain of your rolling capabilities for paper and fabric together, then you could just do it freehand. You may try a skewer or a toothpick so you don't have anything left in the center of your bead. Do what you want. I'm just going to show you how I do it, and then you go from there, because that's what I do with everything. I watch how somebody else does it, and then I kind of take off on my own if I feel like I want to try something a little different. So let's get this stuff out of the way that I don't need right at first. What I do need right at first is my fabric. And let's see, I think I want to, let's go with the medium-sized one first, which is going to be this one. And I want to cut my fabric in such a way that this is the same as this. I mean, I want this to be right at the edges, okay? So that means I'm going to have to cut a little bit off of this edge of the fabric. But because I need it to be in a long triangle, that's not going to be so bad. I don't have to like cut the whole length. I probably do want to determine where I want the end of my triangle to be. If I want it to be a fat bead, if I want it to be a thin bead, that's going to determine how much fabric and how much book page I use. So I want to find the center down here of the fabric or ribbon or whatever I'm going to use, and lay a ruler down, and I'm going to come right down here. And I think if I go inside just a bit of the, what's this called, the pinked edge, then I think that I am going to be right about the right width for that. And I am going to, I didn't say you needed a pen. You're going to need a pen or something else to mark your fabric with if you're going to mark your fabric. Now you may just wish to eyeball it. Like I said, I try it first and then I change it up as needed. So I'm going to lay that down there just inside, and I'm going to come down and find where I met, I think my fabric. Oh, I just didn't finish the line. Let me finish the line there. Now, I'm going to match up the end of this line that's right here. And it doesn't have to be a pointy point, okay? And I'm going to take my pen And what I'm doing, I'm just giving myself a cutting line. And since I am doing this on camera for you, I'd prefer to make sure that it's fairly straight. I'd probably need my fabric scissors. So I'm going to cut along this line. And I'm actually going to cut just inside of it so that my ink doesn't show on the finished project. Doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line, it's just a guideline for me to make somewhat of an even triangular piece. And I can actually use that piece that I cut off just now to make a smaller bead, so I won't be getting rid of it. And it's not like it's just, oh, all I can do with that now is collage it or whatever, or make tabs, which you can collage and make tabs if you wish. It's not a deal breaker to be cutting this fabric like this. And then I'm going to just go down and kind of rough up the edges. You don't have to do this, but it is a boho bead, so I kind of think that the fringiness adds to the effect. Maybe yours won't be boho. Maybe you're going for a little more elegance, in which case you don't have to do this. I just kind of like the boho. Of course, I've been told that my style is kind of an eclectic elegance. The way that I dress, the way that I decorate my house, the way that I do lots of things. So I think this fits either way. All right, so I have that all fringed out. I like the way that looks. The ends are just past my beads, so they'll be covered up, so that'll work too. The next thing that I need to do is get a piece of book page, and I need my book page to be smaller, a smaller triangle than this. So I am just going to go to the inside of the book page. Let's see. I think I want that. And I'm going to come in about an inch from the end and lay my page on there. And it's obviously not going to come all the way up here, but it doesn't have to come all the way up here. I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to lay it just inside the edge of the fabric, top and bottom, right there. And I'm going to tear my page off. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing, except for I moved my fabric, so we'll get that lined back up again somewhat. And line that up and tear it off this way. And I'm going to take my glue, and I'm using Beacon 3-in-1 in the same family as Fabri-Tac and Fabri-Fix. I think that they are slightly different, but they are close enough to each other that I don't have a problem using whatever one I have. Sometimes one is on sale and the other is not, and I think that's kind of odd, but you know. Anyway, and we're going to glue that onto the paper, making sure that we have, onto the fabric, excuse me, we're gluing the paper onto the fabric, making sure that we've got the fabric edge, what is that? It varies between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch on either side. All right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to turn it over this way, and we're going to glue this plastic piece, or if you're going to be doing a toothpick, you're going to just wrap it around and glue the fabric to the fabric. But I'm starting with the plastic piece, so I'm going to put the glue on it. I'm trying to stay in the center of my work table because I don't have my mat down or anything to help me keep track of where I am, so I keep looking up. I am seated right now because my ankle still has to be elevated as much as possible. And then we are going to just roll, but I want to make sure that I've got a little bit of glue on here that's helping hold it together. So I'm not going to go too far because this glue dries fairly fast, but I also don't want to coat the whole thing with glue. So I'm just going to start rolling that up. And when I get to the paper part, I'm probably going to have to help coax it to get it started on that first little line of paper there. So I'm just putting some paper on that corner, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to glue down again like I did before. Making sure that I don't glue past the edges of the paper because I don't want the glue to seep through the fabric and, you know, to show, because it's going to look weird if I do. And then just keep going. Your edge of your paper when you first start it may cause a little difficulty. But if you keep rolling, it should still work. And I think that this isn't going to turn out exactly like I had intended, because I think I needed a little more width. I made this a long, skinny one, but I think it'll still be okay. Because I think that what I'm ending up doing is covering up all of the book page. Yep, I did something wrong there, but I still like the bead, so I'm still going to continue on with it, and then maybe as I'm doing the other part, I will figure out what it is that I did wrong. All right, so there's the first one. Let's try, let's try making the fabric narrower than the book page. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just make somewhat of a triangle here out of this paper. Let's start with the paper this time. And I'm going to try to straighten that a little bit. So I'll just tear off that corner. And let's try with the narrower paper. Or fabric. Maybe we'll go this way. Do that. Yep, I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to mark my fabric. See, I'm playing. I'm playing, and you're getting to play along with me because I had an idea in my head. I hadn't made this before. So in my head, it was working one way. I'm discovering as I make it that it's going to be another way. And this is how ideas happen. And And here's a tip. I don't know if it'll help you or not. It helps me. I keep my scissors, my fabric scissors, in that protective case there to my left, because if I accidentally grab a pair of scissors, or if I just reach and grab a pair of scissors, I'm not going to accidentally use my fabric scissors on paper, because I have to do some work to get to the scissors, and that's going to help remind me that those are not the scissors I'm looking for. All right, so let's see what happens with this one, because I totally expected the book page to show on this one, and I've got a little peek of one there, and that's it. So let's try it this way. What's the worst that could happen? I end up with another bead, you know? Kind of what I'm aiming for is to get beads. It does look very boho. All right, so I'm going to lay this on here. Just like that. Again, I'm not going for perfection. And this time I'm going to use this little bead here. And I am going to start with the glue once again. And since my fabric is a little bit longer than my paper, I'm not going all the way across on this plastic piece. I'm just going the width of the fabric, because I need to get it started first. And I need to make sure that I've got the bead, or the base, I guess. What would you call this? The plastic piece. I guess the center form, okay? And then I will want to roll that up to the edge of the paper. And then I'll put glue on the paper that is the width of the plastic piece, just to get it started rolling. And then I'm going to come down the paper like this. Again, I don't want to go down all the way to the edge. I just want it in the center to kind of hold it together. I went way down there with the glue. I thought I was going to be really fast, apparently. And maybe I will be. Okay, so I am finding out that my paper is crinkling, and that may be due to the difference between the paper and the fabric. I don't know if the paper's stretching or what. So maybe I don't want to glue the fabric to the paper at the beginning. And this time, okay, I've got to figure this out. This time, I've got a whole lot of book page showing and very little fabric until the end. So, how is this going to work? Maybe, oh, you know what? I'm going long and skinny. Maybe I need to go short and wide. Let's try that. Let's try a short and wide. Let's go this way on the paper. Let's figure out, I need to glue that little end down on the fabric. There we go. Still pretty neat looking beads, I think. All right. Let's go with a let's make this one a 3-inch bead. I don't know why I put the ruler on there. Yes, I do, because I'm just going to make my marks. All right. So we're going to make this one shorter and wider. See if maybe that makes a difference. Not sure why I marked with the pen on that. I think that my brain is just trying to figure out what I've been doing wrong. Because in my brain this worked a whole lot better. Okay. So now, let's try this. I think maybe if I, instead of trying to go wider or narrower, what happens if I just make it the same? What do you think? Let's try that. I don't know. I'm a little bit confused about why it's not working the way that I expected. Maybe if instead of doing this way and trying to make it even, maybe if I do that. What if I bump it out a little bit? It's still the same size instead of being narrower. So if I bump it out just a little bit, maybe that'll be the difference maker. Let's find out. If nothing else, I've got a third boho bead and something to work on in the future. And I did not put glue between the paper and the fabric because the last one showed me that the paper behaves differently. So I am going to just let it move as it needs to, because when I put the glue down on the one, it's going to end up on the other. And I left that hem in there, and I'm not sure if that's helping or not. Roll, roll, roll. The paper is not wanting to roll very well. Maybe if I pick it up off the work table and kind of I am just going to do this. Oh, there we go. That's what I was trying to do. That's what I was trying to do. All right, so I am going to put some glue down on the paper. Here we go, we're rolling. In the first part of the paper, that is going to catch. And so you're gonna have to tuck it under, and it's gonna take some finagling. Okay? And it may be because this is old book paper that it doesn't want to roll very well, but I think I got it figured out. I think it just needs to be the same size and then offset a bit. Because now I can see the fabric and the paper. Glue right on the tip of the paper there. Oops. Well, apparently I'm going to put a lot of glue on the tip of the paper right there. It's okay. It rubs off. Just like that. Alright, that kind of worked. Because now at least I can see the paper and the fabric all the way down. I've got a couple of more ideas, so I may have a future video on these beads as I figure out better ways to do this part. The second part's easy. I've done it before on other creations. So this is where this wire comes in. And you are going to need I'm going to say 3 times the length of your bead. Excuse me, at least. 1, 2, 3. Don't be too precise. Goodness gracious. And you want to thread your wire through the bead, just like that, about halfway through. Doesn't have to be perfect. About halfway through. And then bring it into the center. Actually, you don't have to bring it into the center. You just want to bend these ends down like this so that it stays in place. And then you're going to thread some beads on. And I'm going to use all seed beads for this one, but you can use any beads that you want. Whoops. And I like to make a little hook, which I forgot to do on this one. I like to make a little hook on the end of my wire, and then I can just dip it in there, and the beads kind of thread themselves. Apparently, I want green beads today, because all of those were green. And you'll want to put several on. You can fill the whole wire if you want. You can leave some wire bare if you want. And I'm still just getting green beads. That's very odd. There we go. There's a pink one and a blue one. Okay, so I'm going to fill up my wires and then I'll be back. All right, so I have my seed beads on my 2 wires. When I got done with this one, I just folded the wire back and wrapped it around the end bead so it wouldn't come off. And this part is pretty simple. You're just going to kind of wrap your beaded wires around, let me move the scissors out of the way, around the bead. Do my little thing here so that this end doesn't come undone while I am wrapping the other beads. And I pull the wire down and keep chasing that bead that wants to escape. Wire down and kind of make a loop, something like a loop, just like that. You don't want it too tight, but you don't want your other beads to run away. And then I'll undo what I did on this end. Well, I don't know why, I don't have to, but I am going to crisscross. I'm going to go the other direction from what I went on the first go round. And the only thing that you really need to keep in mind is that you want your wires to come back together. See, I've brought both wires back over here. I need to undo my kink that I did on that end. Yep, there we go. Now you've got your 2 ends, your 2 wires that you've beaded. Bring them together at some point. And you don't have to keep the beads tight. You can have wires showing. It's not a big deal. Bring them together, the 2 wires, and start twisting them. And I would twist it several times just to make sure that they are good and connected. Then you can cut the ends off. Not with good scissors. These scissors will cut about anything. And then you'll just tuck that in under the beads. That twist that you just made should just tuck right under somewhere on the beads. You don't even have to glue it because it's not going to come undone. You just want to hide the pokey ends because no matter what you do, you're going to have pokey ends on there. But if you tuck them, then it's fine. And there is one Boho Bookpage, Boho beaded Bookpage bead. I'm going to do that to the others. I'm going to do them a little differently so you can see what other ways you could do to enhance that. And I'll be right back. All right, so here we go. Here are the 3 finished beads. This is the one I just showed you with all of the seed beads, and they're all wrapped around. Here is the Bookpage one, and I added a few pearls just for a little elegance, and then I spaced them out. You can see a lot of the wire. I like the way that one looks. And then this one, I threaded the same 3 beads on each end, and then put both wires through the big focal bead, and then just wrapped it around and twisted and twisted and twisted. And I like the way that one turned out as well. So there we go. There's just a couple of ways, none of which were the way I planned, for making some Boho Bookpage beads. I plan to keep working with this, see what else I can figure out. Maybe I will finally figure out how to get the vision in my head onto a bead. Thank you for joining me today, and as always, be kind. Bye.